but the youth protests in Leh yesterday may not have been as spontaneous as earlier thought to be. The MHA, the Ministry of Home Affairs, says the main protagonist, the agent provocateur, seems to be the climate activist Sonam Wangchuk. They say that Wangchuk is the one who deliberately stoked and egged on the Gen Z protesters to try and draw inspiration from the Arab Spring or from the Nepal protests that happened just a few days ago. And when things got violent, he washed his hands off. In fact, earlier this evening, the FCRA licenses, the Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act license for his NGOs, has been cancelled. A CBI case, which was long pending against him, has been revived, which begs the question, was all of this deliberately stoked? Mr. Wangchuk, on his part, says that all of this is cooked up, all of this is old stuff that's being brought back, and that this is simply a deliberate way to deflect from the main issue at hand, which is the long pending demand that Ladakhis have of separate statehood and their inclusion under the 6th schedule of the Constitution. But just after the violence broke out yesterday, the central government has singularly blamed Sonam Wangchuk, his speeches, his actions, for the entire disruption of peace that we saw yesterday in Ladakh and in Leh. The centre is suggesting, and the MHA has put out a formal statement suggesting, that certain individuals with political agendas were dissatisfied with the current developments in Ladakh, and they may have been influencing the unrest behind the scenes. The government also claims that some of these actors deliberately attempted to derail the ongoing discussions between the centre and Ladakhi stakeholders, the Apex Council, as well as members of the central government who were supposed to meet sometime in October. Those meetings have now been advanced to later this month. Some of these individuals, they say, were undermining the peaceful resolution efforts that this dialogue was seeking to achieve. Sonam Wangchuk is accused of making public statements which they allege he allegedly incited the protesters, and that contributed to the escalation of tensions. The MHA also highlights that Sonam Wangchuk invoked Arab Spring-style protests or Gen Z-style Nepal protests, which he believed could encourage large-scale civil disobedience in Leh. The government also claims that Wangchuk drew parallels to the recent youth-led protests in Nepal, implying a call for similar youth mobilization in Ladakh. I want to play out a series of reactions that have come in, and then we'll go across to our guests as well. There's also some breaking developments in the story at this hour.
ये है कांग्रेस के काउंसलर स्टानजिंग सेपांग। ये अपर लेह वार्ड से काउंसलर हैं, ये मेन इंस्टिगेटर हैं। अब आप देख सकते हैं कि वही काउंसलर स्टानजिंग सेपांग राहुल गांधी जी के साथ है। यह जो तस्वीर है ये राहुल गांधी है। एक बात आप याद रखिए, कांग्रेस पार्टी हैज नेफेरियस डिजाइन्स। कांग्रेस पार्टी का जो षड्यंत्र है, किस प्रकार से भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे इंशा अल्लाह, यही कांग्रेस पार्टी का मुख्य लाइन है। आज पूरे विश्व में हम एक ब्राइट स्पॉट हैं। बड़े से बड़ा लीडर विश्व का आज भारत का लोहा मानता है। अगर देश को तोड़ने की कोशिश करोगे तो देश जवाब भी देना जानता है, जनता जवाब भी दे।
प्रधानमंत्री जी, आप पूरी तरह असफल हो रहे हैं। देश में पूरब में तो आग लगी थी, मणिपुर में जो शांत लद्दाख था वहां भी आग लग गई। मैं सबसे पहली अपील करता हूं कि लद्दाख के लोगों से वहां अमन हो, चैन हो, शांति हो, पर ये घटिया आदतों से बाज आए भाजपा। अपनी असफलता नहीं बताएंगे कि केंद्र की सरकार है आपकी।
Now there's a significant twist in this tale. Sonam Wangchuk's motives are under the scanner of the CBI as well as other central agencies. Cracking the whip, the Ministry of Home Affairs has cancelled Wangchuk's NGO's FCRA license, which is the Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act, which means that he cannot receive any more funds from outside the country. Now, here's why that has happened. The allegation against Mr. Wangchuk and his various NGOs, 3.35 lakh rupees received as foreign donation in cash. Again, 3.35 lakh cash donation, which violates Section 17 of the FCRA norms. There are also allegedly local deposits of 54,600 rupees, which violates Section 17 of the FCRA. There's another one, 4.93 lakhs, which was received from foreign donors, violating Section 12. 4.93 lakh foreign donation is misused for the study of quote-unquote sovereignty. 79,200 received as foreign donation, not credited to the FCRA account. So all of this has been cited as one possible reason for why the FCRA licenses have been withdrawn. But I also want to play out more reactions before we go across to my colleague Anshul with more details on this.
तो सीबीआई के नोटिस में ये लिखा है कि 2022 से 24 में आपकी संस्था ने विदेशी मुद्रा ग्रहण किया, जबकि आपके पास अनुमति नहीं है, एफसीआरए नहीं है। हमने एफसीआरए नहीं लिया क्योंकि हमारा इरादा नहीं है विदेशों से हम भीख मांगे। तो हमारे जो पैसिव सोलर हीटेड बिल्डिंग्स है जो हमने लोगों के लिए, इंडियन आर्मी के लिए बनाए, वो अफगानिस्तान में ले जाना चाहते थे संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ, यूनाइटेड नेशंस, और उन्होंने इसके लिए हमें फीस अदा की। उसी तरह हमारे आर्टिफिशियल ग्लेशियर्स को स्विट्ज़रलैंड की एक यूनिवर्सिटी और इटली के एक संस्था चाहते थे कि ये प्रोजेक्ट्स में प्रयोग किया जाए। उसके लिए हमें ज्ञान की दक्षिणा फीस अदा की। वो फीस बाज़ाब्ता टैक्स के साथ है, इनकम टैक्स के समन्स आ रहे हैं। उन्हें ये नहीं पता है कि लद्दाख क्षेत्र में कोई टैक्स नहीं देता है, टैक्स माफ़ है यहाँ, फिर भी एक आदमी देता है, वो मैं हूँ।
So I want to go across to Anshul, my colleague, for further details on this. There are three institutes, three NGOs that have been identified against whom primarily the allegation or the suspicions are against: the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives in Ladakh, the Students' Educational and Cultural Movement, and the Sheshio Innovations Private Limited. What exactly are the role of these three firms, and what is it that Mr. Wangchuk is being accused of?
Well, the main accusation that has been put forth against Sonam Wangchuk is that all these NGOs were actually receiving foreign funds, and these foreign funds should have been given according to the regulations that have already been set up under the FCRA laws. But what has happened in all these NGOs, the Home Ministry in its notification has very clearly stated each and every point due to which this decision has been taken, that his FCRA license should be cancelled, which essentially means that there could be no more foreign funding that could happen to Sonam Wangchuk. There are several instances that have been pointed out. One of the instances is 3,75,000 rupees that was given to Sonam Wangchuk's NGO, and eventually when the government asked that for what purposes this was given, the reply that was given by them was not in line, and hence the ministry felt that this is something that is illegal. Apart from this, over the last 30 to 45 days, the CBI has launched a preliminary inquiry into the FCRA transactions of Sonam Wangchuk, and now since the MHA has gone ahead and disposed of the license, FCRA license of Sonam Wangchuk, it is very, very likely that within the next few days itself an FIR would be registered by the CBI, and it is likely that Sonam Wangchuk would be called in to join into the investigation. Now, FCRA is a scheduled offence as well, which means that the Enforcement Directorate will also have to register a case in this entire matter, and then a money laundering FCRA probe will also happen against Sonam Wangchuk. So it is very, very likely that over the next few weeks, the troubles for Sonam Wangchuk could increase by multiple folds, as the MHA has made this very, very clear that there are at least 5 instances in which transaction of cash and money has happened, which are not according to the FCRA laws that has been mandated by the government, and hence this decision has been taken that his license should be cancelled from now on.
Okay, Anshul, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how this story further develops. Of course, Mr. Wangchuk has rejected this by saying that this is simply a distraction tactic and that the government should address the genuine concerns of the people of Leh and Ladakh. I want to go across, open this up to our political panelists. Sanju Verma is national spokesperson of the BJP. Kailash Adhikari, political analyst, joining us. Ravinder Sharma is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Sanju Verma, we've put out the sort of checklist or the list of charges against Mr. Sonam Wangchuk. He has spoken as well, and I played out an excerpt of that bite. He's saying that these foreign contributions he's been receiving since 2020. So you've got into this 4 years late, and you're now reactivating all of this one day after we saw those violent scenes, those violent protests in Leh and Ladakh, which he says is fundamentally driven by the genuine sort of demands and concerns of the people of Ladakh, which is Schedule 6 and statehood or union territory with state legislature.
First things first, while Article 2 and Article 3 of the Constitution, it is absolutely the preserve and the prerogative of the Indian Parliament to decide whether or not to grant statehood, whether to merge 2 regions, whether to realign borders of different states, whether to declare a particular region as union territory, so on and so forth. And, the final approval is given by the President after due consideration and discussions with various stakeholders, including the state legislatures, the governor, the cabinet ministers, the prime minister, so on and so forth. So for Sonam Wangchuk to become a law unto himself and say, oh, I'm demanding statehood, so ye hona hi chahiye. No, there is a due process that needs to be adhered to, which he is not doing. Point number one. Point number two, there was just as recently as January 2025, in a public notice, the Union Home Ministry said that while Section 1616 of the FCRA Act, every person or entity who has been granted a certificate under the new FCRA rules shall submit renewed documents every 6 months. Has Sonam Wangchuk done that? No. Then the new foreign contribution rules of 2011, which is what we follow currently, they clearly state you cannot receive foreign funding. If you have received foreign funding, by adhering to certain norms, then you have to utilize those foreign funds only for the purpose for which they were raised. So Sonam Wangchuk obviously has decided not to adhere to the foreign contribution rules of 2011.
Okay.
The third point I want to make is this, and I think a very important point raised by you, Zaka, in your introductory comment. Sonam Wangchuk claims he's an innovator, he's a technocrat, he's a climate activist, he's an engineer, so on and so forth. But most importantly, he's neither an educationist or a reformist. I say he is trying to now instigate via incendiary statements the people, the youngsters of Leh Ladakh, to undermine the might of the Indian state. And if the might of the Indian state is, attempted to be smothered, then the Indian state will deal with such vandals in the manner that it deems fit.
Before I come to one second, ma'am. Before I come to Ravinder Sharma, by the way, in the 2019 Lok Sabha election manifesto of the BJP, and in the 2024 Lok Sabha election manifesto of the BJP, and in the 2020 Ladakh Hill Council Development Council elections manifesto of the BJP had included its promise for bringing Ladakh under the 6th schedule. What the people there are protesting against is now the next set of elections are coming for the Ladakh Hill Council. They're saying you made a promise 5 years ago. Please keep that promise at least 5 years on when you come asking for our votes after 5 years.
Do you want me to answer that very quickly, Zaka?
Yes.
Let's get one thing very clear, Zaka, that the Modi government has done more than what it is being given credit for when it comes specifically to Leh Ladakh. I'll answer your question about 6th schedule very quickly, but don't forget that today in Leh Ladakh, the reservation for tribals has been raised from 45% to 84%. It is thanks to the Modi government that 1/3 of the constitution of any hill council in Leh Ladakh is represented by women. It is thanks to the Modi government that 2 languages, tribal languages called Bhoti and Furgi, have been given official status in Leh Ladakh. And as far as getting Leh Ladakh under the ambit of the 6th schedule is concerned, there are some things which take time. We've not said no, but we are saying that before giving autonomy, especially administrative autonomy to tribals in Leh Ladakh, given that Ladakh overall has 97% tribals and Leh has 66.8% tribals, before giving them autonomy over forests, over resources, over other natural resources, we would like to discuss with various stakeholders, and meetings are being held with the KDA, Kargil Democratic Alliance, and with LAB, Leh Apex body.
So
kya hoga wo aage chal ke dekhte hain na.
Now let me ask Ravinder Sharma, on Sonam Wangchuk, the central government, the MHA is saying that he is the one who is provoking these young people, and the moment the violence happened, he's washing his hands off this entire exercise. They are also questioning his credentials, saying he runs multiple institutions where bank accounts have not been declared, remittances have not been declared, and he's also got foreign contributions without declaring that they come under the Foreign Contribution Regulatory Act. Therefore, his FCRA license has now been withheld. Mr. Sharma.
Let me express our great concern over the worrisome situation that has emerged in the frontier region of Leh, which is bordering China and which has always defeated the misadventures and mischiefs of the hostile neighbor. And the people of Ladakh, especially Leh Ladakh, they are very peaceful, patriotic, and forthright. And they have been demanding their legitimate rights for the last 5 years. The central government, which is BJP, they were claiming that we have won over the hearts of the people of Ladakh, and Congress did nothing, and now they are blaming others and Wangchuk or other people. It was a general mass protest, peaceful protest we are witnessing for the last 5 years. And he went to Delhi also for holding a peaceful protest at the Jantar Mantar. And I personally witnessed that he was not allowed to come out of the gates of the JNK guest house in Delhi. And the central government adopted the strategy of exhausting and frustrating these peaceful people. As a result, civil unrest. Well, I do not know what are the credentials and antecedents of Mr. Wangchuk. He is an environmentalist, as we know, from a distance. But the question is, a peaceful protest of the common people where all people are involved.
No, sir, if it was peaceful, then why are these pictures? Smoke rising, a local party office being burned, 4 people died.
So let me speak. It was the utter failure of the BJP and the central government. They are holding UT there. They are controlling the UT administration. They are dealing with the situation. We have been witnessing through media that there are dialogues going on, dates are being fixed. And now Wangchuk and others are blaming that they were keeping them in dark and they were putting them on a track of armed
They are
twisting.
also alleging one of the people who was directly involved is a Congress councillor. I believe, that's the allegation that's made. Stansing Sapang. In fact, Sambit Patra today came out and said Stansing Sapang is a Congress councillor who was seen instigating the crowds.
See, sir, I was just listening to Mr. Wangchuk on a TV channel. He said that it was a false picture, and he asked Sambit Patra to withdraw it. And I do not have the first-hand information because Leh Ladakh is destroyed. We do not have telephone and other conversation with our own people. But where is the question of Congress? Congress is not part of even the Apex committee spearheading the agitation, spearheading the movement for the last 5 years. How Congress comes into the picture? This is just to find out a escape route for their utter failure. They have lost the trust of the people of Leh, which is very unfortunate.
Kailash Adhikari, so you have the Congress spokesperson saying that where is the Congress coming into the picture? The fact is that for the last 5 years, the promise of either statehood or UT with legislature and, of course, bringing Leh and Ladakh under the 6th schedule, it's a promise that's been hanging fire for the last 5 years. There has been hunger protests, there have been fast unto death protests, but unfortunately, nothing yielded in terms of, was there any material difference to the lives of the Leh Ladakhi people in terms of the 6th schedule and in terms of this legislature. The point now is the central government is saying, and they can cast all kinds of aspersions, allegations, cases against Wangchuk or anyone else, but does that take away from the underlying demands which have not been met for the last 5 years? And that's what the Leh Ladakhi people are saying. Address the larger issue. Some individuals may have indulged in some wrongdoing. Let them face the law.
Zaka, firstly, Congress trying to preach that and trying to tell the government to act upon something is very, I would believe, out of the line, because numerous preaches have been done by the Congress party between 2004 to 2014 and nothing, and most of them, they were never implemented also. And now when they are being implemented because of the stronger political will of the Modi government, they try to take credit. So I would not like to comment on what Congress is trying to preach on that particular front. Secondly, what is happening currently in Leh and Ladakh and instigated by certain individuals is completely unfortunate and is uncalled for. What happened in the neighboring countries, whether it was fortunate or not fortunate, I'm no one to decide, because it is the people of those nations. But certainly as a civil society or as a civil democracy, anyone is not advised, or civilians or even citizens are not advised to take the law in their own hands. If you want to, this is a free country where media is also the fourth pillar of the democracy, Zaka. If anyone wants to put out a certain issue, there is a proper decorum in which that particular person or a group of person can put. But the kind of scenes that we are seeing and the way certain Congress councillors are also trying to incite violence, and Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, उन्हें मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि अपने गिरेबान में झांक के देखो ना पहले कि किस हिसाब से आपने अपना कार्य किया है और जिस हिसाब से आप सरकार के ऊपर लांछन लगाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, पहले अपने गिरेबान को झांक के देखो. And trying to create an unrest situation, not helping the government, makes no good of these individuals.
Okay, Sanju Verma, you want to respond? Yes.
Yes. You know, Zaka, there's a very interesting post on Twitter /X by Sonam Wangchuk at 3:31 p.m. on the 23rd of September. Within 2 hours of this post by Sonam Wangchuk, trouble started. It escalated yesterday before it was brought under control by the Modi government. He says, "Thank you, Arunachal, for raising the voice of Ladakh. You have raised the voice not just of Ladakh, but of all tribal cultures and fragile ecologies of Himalayas. Day 14 of Ladakh Unrest. My simple point is this. Why drag Arunachal Pradesh into this entire Ladakh issue? Point number one. Point number two, he used the word Arab Spring. When Sonam Wangchuk's bluff was caught, he said, oh, all I wanted was peaceful protest. I did not want people burning down the BJP office, burning down CRPF vehicles, burning down the Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council office, having fisticuffs with the ITBP. So basically, Sonam Wangchuk is a repeat offender. What was the need for Sonam Wangchuk to attend the climate, session in Pakistan in February 2025? What is the need for Sonam Wangchuk to give a jadoo ki jhappi to Muhammad Yunus when things between India and Bangladesh at that point were anything but kosher? And I want to leave your audience with just one last point, which is very important, though you've mentioned it. I think I need to reinforce it. The fact of the matter is that Sonam Wangchuk, his NGO Students Educational and Cultural Movement of Ladakh called SEMCOL, which was founded in 1988. So far, so good. It was not indulging in any violation of any law. Even his other NGO called Operation New Hope, founded in 1995, so far so good. Nothing out of the extraordinary there. But then there's an NGO of his called the Himalayan Institute of Alternatives Ladakh, HIAL, which was founded in 2015. And there are contributions from the Ford Foundation. There are contributions into HIAL, Sonam Wangchuk's NGO, from Open Society Foundation, which is basically an affiliate of George Soros. And if the union government has said that you evaded taxes to the tune of 135 crore, why should this man not cough up? Why should this man think that he's above the law of the land?
Mr. Ravindra Sharma, quick final word, and I have to move on after that. Yeah.
My question is, where from this debate has come all of a sudden? Why were they silent for 5 years and not acting against Mr. Wangchuk? I don't hold brief for Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, but the question is the peaceful protest of entire people of Leh, and they are now washing off their hands. They were not aware of these activities of Mr. Wangchuk. Why did not they act? Why could not they visualize the situation? Please speak. Please silent. Please silent. Please keep silent. My question is, why could not they visualize the situation beforehand? It is their failure to. It is their failure. Please ask.
Ma'am, please, let him, ma'am, please, yeah. Finish your point, Mr. Sharma.
It is their utter fear to keep the people. They kept them engaged for 5 years and try to frustrate them, try to delay their demands, did not enter into a meaningful dialogue.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Sanju Verma and Mr. Ravindra Sharma, Kailash Adhikari as well. We hope that there is no Nepal-like situation in Leh. Today, the good news is it's very peaceful. It is very unlike what happened yesterday, and I guess the message has gone down to the young people as well that their concerns will be addressed. I believe a meeting that was supposed to happen early in October has now been advanced. It's going to happen in the next few days between the Hill Council representatives and the representatives of the central government.